In today's video, we are talking about the latest updates to the iPhone 15 design, mainly the titanium frame, standby display, action button, and the dynamic island. Hello everybody, my name is Simon, and on this channel I explore the whole world of design. If you find this video provides you with any amount of value, make sure to click that like button as it helps with promoting this video to others, and if you do not want to miss any of my videos, make sure to click on that subscribe button. Let's start with the materiality upgrade for the iPhone, the titanium frame and the stronger glass cover. According to Apple, the titanium frame makes the iPhone stronger and around 8% lighter, while housing the strongest glass cover and screen on any iPhone so far. This immediately caught my attention, and not for its face value of being stronger and lighter. Rather, for me, there is a deeper issue that this starts to address. A contradiction I have always found frustrating in the smartphone design world. That is, where companies, in this case Apple, spend a big budget to produce high-quality marketing material in the form of high production graphics and videos to convince us, yes, you and me, on how functional and beautiful their latest interface and phone designs are, so that we accept their very high selling price. Once we have gone into most likely unnecessary depth to acquire the latest piece of technology, we then cover half of what convinced us to buy it in the first place. We buy a cover and seal away the phone's exterior design, completely changing its aesthetics for what the cover designers can offer us and not the phone itself. Now, of course, we are needing to protect our newly acquired expensive piece of technology and status symbol from the unavoidable human errors, i.e., when you drop it, and therefore forced to cover it to protect it from ourselves. I not only find this highly frustrating, but also contradictory. You are needing to hide away that which made you like it in the first place to be able to protect it. It's like buying a fancy sports car for how it looks and then using it with the dust cover on it. With Apple's statement, I immediately thought that this might be it. No more covers necessary for my phone. So I started to wonder how resistant are these new materials in reality. Is the titanium frame able to resist an average head height fall without dent or scratches? Is this strong glass being advertised resistant enough where it's harder to crack when it falls? So I waited for people with more money than me to buy a dozen new iPhones and make a video having fun destroying them. Life is so unfair. And the results were very underwhelming and disappointing. It could be that the titanium frame and the new glass are truly stronger than previous iPhone iterations, but not enough to the point where it would be wise to forego the cover to protect your latest expensive device. And I imagine Apple is trying very hard to make this work, as you are basically having to cover how the phone looks and its branding, something very important for commercial activity, something that I believe has become ever more challenging as all major phone designs have collapsed to basically look the same, and therefore hard to distinguish between brands of phone as it is, let alone when they have covers. So my frustration is kept alive, and this contradiction is kept unresolved. Another feature that was added to the iPhone is the standby display. Standby display is what I consider an object-based interaction, where you interact with the object instead of the screen to manipulate the contents of the device. If you are interested in understanding this design concept further and my thoughts on the latest iWatch design, you can see the link to that video here or here, somewhere above me, don't know yet, or you can see the link in the description below. In this case, for the standby display, is when you horizontally tilt the iPhone to activate this feature. This object interaction permits you to then display passive information that you aren't really actively engaging with, but that for some reason or another you might want to have access to it in the background. Like the time, turning your phone into a nightstand clock effectively, or adding information for the weather, traffic, news, Bitcoin price, or whatever else. I think this is helpful as you already have your phone ever present with you. Why not have the option to show something useful when it's already sitting there on your desk? If you do not want to see the information, then you can disable the feature or just place your iPhone face down. I think this is a feature that offers more customizability to our alt device, while turning it into a more nimble and adaptable piece of technology for the user. Next in line is the action button. The action button is replacing the mute button on previous iPhone designs. By default, it still enacts the mute function, but it expands the possibility of its function by letting users replace the mute function with different actions that can be instantly activated without having to log into the phone to get access to them, similar to how you're able to activate the camera or flashlight from the lock screen. The user can choose from a predefined set of actions to assign to that button, or they can use the shortcut app and create their own custom actions. This might seem like a very inconsequential change, but when small changes are done to a design that users interact with on a constant basis, those small changes impact the design's performance and therefore the user's experience in subtle but meaningful ways. In this case, Apple is looking to provide flexibility as to what app the user can instantly have access to, while mitigating the friction to gain that access. The action button is mitigating this friction by eliminating steps to get to the selected app in two specific ways. First, they are letting you get access to the app from one very accessible action, pressing a button. This avoids the user having to turn on the phone's display, log in, search for the app, tap the app to then be able to start using the app. One button, full access. Again, this interaction is an object-based interaction, rather than a screen-based interaction, just like the standby display feature. You're able to modify the content of the screen by interacting with the object rather than the screen. Secondly, the location of the action button on the phone itself is extremely comfortable to find by the user's hand when holding the phone in a passive manner. Meaning, when you're not actively interacting with your phone's screen, but rather just holding onto the device. In this position, if the phone's top is oriented towards your thumb, the aforementioned thumb or index can comfortably have access to press the action button. Apple gives some examples for the action button, like having quick access to your camera to capture those fleeting but meaningful moments. Personally, I see myself using this button to start a note to capture ideas or content into my productivity system. Right now, I'm having to pick up the phone, wake up the screen, log in, search for the app, open the app, tap on a new note to then be able to start typing my idea into it. Even while using shortcuts or apps from the lock screen, none of them can reduce the steps you need to take to get full access to an app as much as the action button does, where at most you need to pick up your phone, press the button, and start using the app. Now, this might be very good for someone that is looking to enhance their productivity system, but this can go south for someone that is addicted to social media, for example. Lastly, let's talk about the dynamic island feature, a graphical element at the top of the iPhone screen that overlaps the front camera and speaker. This graphical element expands dynamically to display relevant information for app notifications, like an incoming call, map directions, order updates, amongst more, while letting you interact with that notification in new ways, like directly answering that phone call from the notification itself, or pausing or skipping music you're hearing, amongst many more actions. This develops and changes how notifications work and how we can interact with them, taking them further than previous iterations where it's an uninteractive block that you can swipe to push off the screen or tap to take you to that relevant app. This feature lets you not just interact with the notifications and apps in a more dynamic way, but the dynamic island also shows relevant tidbits of information from active apps in a passive manner on minimal screen area, like phone call length, next step from map directions, battery life, amongst many more. This is a way to not just show relevant information from active apps, but a way to dynamically manage the layers of information from those apps that tend to be engaged in a parallel manner, all within this relatively small device. For example, when you're hearing music, browsing social media, texting with a friend, all at the same time. This feature helps to manage all the information in a more dynamic manner that is a bit more intuitive and natural to handle on the screen. But it is not perfect. It leaves a noticeable black strip which contradicts the design direction of trying to go borderless with the screen. Everything that I see from the product design is trying to create this borderless full screen experience, but then it's a bit jarring to have this black bar in that same screen. It's a bit of a contradictory messaging from the design itself. If we compare this to what Samsung is doing, for example, with their phone design, it seems like the message from the design itself, from the phone itself, is more cohesive. They are truly trying to go as borderless and full screen as possible, and so they have minimized the front camera screen aperture as much as they can. They are as committed as they can to this design direction. But I do recognize that using the graphical element of the dynamic island feature as a way to mitigate or hide as much as possible the presence of the black bar that results from the front camera and speakers building constraints is an elegant solution. I would like to know if the dynamic island was a result of looking how to mitigate or justify the presence of this black bar, or if it was just a happy coincidence of two unrelated design goals matching perfectly together. And that is it. Everything that caught my eye from Apple's latest updates from the iPhone 15 and my insights as a designer. And that is a total lie. I had so much more to say, but I am highly interested in reading what you all think of these design updates. What do you all think of the titanium material? Is it really worth it? What are your thoughts on standby display, action button, and the dynamic island features? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to not miss any of my videos. These things really do help to promote the channel here on YouTube and just help the overall development of the channel in a massive way. If you would like to hear what I have to say about Apple's latest updates to the iWatch, click on this video. It's going to be somewhere above me. Or my thoughts on Apple's Vision Pro design, click on this other video link. With that said, I will see you in the next video.